Top of the evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? We are in this festive season. Someone said that we should do a board meeting kind of musical, singing all of what's on the agenda. All in favor say aye. They said nay. So thank you for attending the Board of Trustees, LCC Board of Trustees regular board meeting. And with that, Ms. Duncan, would you please call the roll?
Terry Frazier. Terry Frazier.
Samantha.
Noel Garcia.
Here.
Lawrence Hidalgo Jr. Lawrence Hidalgo. Angela Matthews. Robert Proctor. LaShonda Thomas. Samantha B. Here.
All right, it's all out of our system now, the holiday cheer, okay? We will have our Pledge of Allegiance by Trustee Frazier, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And in honor of this being her final board meeting, we would like for Trustee Bay to read the Lansing Community College land acknowledgement, please. No
Pledge. Chair Matthews asked if I wanted to do this or if I get too emotional, and I said I wouldn't, but that may have not been a whole truth. So Buju Ani, Lansing Community College occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabeg, Three Fires Confederacy of Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi peoples. In particular, the city of Lansing and LCC resides on land ceded in the 1819 Treaty of Saginaw. Miigwech.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now we move on to agenda item number 4. And I just would ask the audience online as well as in person to just bear with us just a little bit during this particular part of our agenda, our meeting. Resolutions and special recognition. The first resolution is honoring Trustee Lawrence Hidalgo Jr., and that is being presented by Trustee Dr. Robert Proctor.
Before I read that motion, and I serve Lawrence. But Lawrence, we want to stand that. Lawrence is my person. I hope that we, first of all, here's what I know, you're acting. Lawrence. Can you hear me now? I have never heard Lawrence utter a foul word. That's something foreign to my mind. I've never heard Lawrence say anything unkind about it. I've known Lawrence dedicated to what education is about, in particular, the role, the mission, the vision of Lansing Community College. What you will not hear in my reading of the resolution is Lawrence's service on the issue on higher education. I think we all ought to applaud him and what he brings to Lansing. Lawrence has been a dear friend. I think we're like brothers together. I know of no one with whom I've served that I've been more philosophically aligned across all spectrum of philosophy than Lawrence. Lawrence, I'm going to, I am sure my colleagues, I know the Lansing College and the community served by the college. I wish you the best in your future, the time you spend with your family, etc. But if you think about it, you might say, you might give this, yeah. So, I'll write it. Thank you. I'm not sure what that means, so it might. Better? Yeah. Not sure I can hold. Lansing Community College Board of Trustees, a resolution honoring Lawrence Hidalgo Jr. for distinguished service as trustee of Lansing Community College. The Board of Trustees of Lansing Community College resolves as follows. Whereas Lawrence Hidalgo Jr. has served with distinction as a trustee of Lansing Community College for a total of 12 years, having been first elected to the board in November 2012 and re-elected in November 2018. And whereas throughout his tenure on the board, Lawrence demonstrated exemplary leadership, serving in numerous capacities, including as a member of the Audit Committee, Foundation Board member, Board Secretary, Vice Chair, and ultimately Chair of the Board. And whereas Lawrence served as Board Chair during the unprecedented challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, providing steady and direct, decisive leadership during a time of great uncertainty. And whereas as Board Chair, Lawrence played a key role in the selection of Lansing Community College's 7th president, Dr. Steve Robinson, ensuring a smooth transition and continued success of the college during a time of change and crisis. And whereas in July 2020, Lawrence Hidalgo was instrumental in dedicating and naming a conference room in the Arts and Sciences building after former President Brent M. Knight, recognizing his significant contributions to Lansing Community College and ensuring his legacy would endure. And whereas Lawrence Hidalgo Jr. worked alongside 15 dedicated trustees and served with 2 college presidents, always placing the well-being of students and the future of Lansing Community College at the forefront of his services. And whereas on September 18, 2006, Lawrence Hidalgo is a member of IBEW Local Union 665, was appointed to the 2006 President Search Screening Committee for the selection of the 6th president of Lansing Community College, contributing his expertise and dedication to a pivotal moment in the institution's history. And whereas Lawrence Hidalgo served on the committee to create the high school completion program at Lansing Community College, and outside of his professional and civic commitments, enjoys vacationing with his wife and spending time with his grandchildren, further reflecting his deep love and commitment to family and community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Lansing Community College hereby expresses its deepest gratitude and appreciation to Lawrence Hidalgo Jr. for his 12 years of dedicated service as a trustee, his leadership in shaping the future of Lansing Community College and his unwavering commitment to the success of the students and the greater community of Lansing. And be it further resolved that the board recognizes and celebrates Lawrence Hidalgo Jr. for his outstanding service to the Lansing Community College and the community it serves, and wishes him continued success in all future endeavors. Adopted the 16th day of December 2022.
As you know, I don't speak a lot at the board meetings, so all those 5 minutes you get every meeting for 12 years, I'm gonna do that at the end tonight. LCC has become a part of my DNA. Been part of the college for over 36 years, starting as a student and instructor and trustee, so I'm not gonna go away. I'm still gonna be around, and in fact, I've offered to the president to be a special envoy of a future trip, like DC. And so anyway, thank you all. I appreciate it.
Before you go.
No, that's for somebody else to do.
Oh, thought I would have that pleasure. To my colleague forever. Thank you, Lord. Hey, Master.
Did you get a paper together for the resolution? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So next we have a resolution honoring Trustee Samantha B. After that, there'll be special recognition by President Steve Robinson, and then special recognition by Chair Angela Matthews. In that order.
Really, Proctor? I am big on words, but I am a little shy at times. It has been an honor serving with you, my fellow social worker. We are big on advocating, and you've been great to work with. You are very welcoming, and I appreciate your hard work. I appreciate serving with you for many years, and I want to cry. Just seeing how dedicated you were to DEI, whatever, any advocating that you could do, you were doing it for all individuals. So I appreciate you and your hard work. You're going to be missed. I know I haven't been here 6 years, but I feel like I've known you for quite some time. So thank you for your dedication. I appreciate you. All right. And this proves that you've been dedicated. Lansing Community College Board of Trustees, a resolution honoring Samantha B for distinguished service as trustee of Lansing Community College. The Board of Trustees, Lansing Community College resolves as follows. Whereas Samantha B has served with distinction as a trustee of Lansing Community College for a total of 6 years, and I know it was like 2 days, having been elected in November 2018, and whereas Samantha B has passionately upheld her belief that Lansing Community College is a vital resource capable of enhancing the quality of life for all members of the community, and has tirelessly worked to sustain and advance that legacy. And whereas Samantha B has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to education and equity by using her knowledge and skills to help all individuals in Lansing pursue higher education and personal growth. And whereas during her tenure as a trustee, Samantha Bay played a vital role in the selection of Lansing Community College's seventh president, Dr. Steve Robinson, ensuring strong leadership for the institution's future. And whereas Samantha Babe has provided exemplary service on several committees, including a member of the Audit Committee, a member of the Association of Community Colleges Trustees, stop moving, Dr. Robinson, Finance and Audit Committee, and a member of the ACCT Governance and Bylaws Committee, and the president of the ACC Under 40 Caucus. Okay, that was rough. Whereas in September 2019, Samantha Babe was instrumental in ensuring that free feminine hygiene products were provided in restrooms, a significant step in addressing the needs of LCC diverse student body. Can we give her a clap for that alone? Hold on, where was I? Yes, I need it. Yeah. Whereas in June 2020, Samantha Babe supported the adoption of Equity Action Plan to address racial injustice, diversify faculty, enhance workplace policies, and establish processes to prevent inequitable behaviors, exemplifying her dedication to social justice and equity, of course. And whereas in September 2021, Samantha Babe initiated a resolution to support the recognition and practice of land acknowledgements and the celebration of Indigenous Peoples Day at LCC, fostering inclusivity and cultural awareness. Can we give her a hand for that too? That's awesome. That was awesome. And whereas in 2024, I know I'm dragging this on, it's okay. Samantha Babe earned her PhD in psychology, conducting groundbreaking research on the relationship between prenatal yoga, childbirth experiences, and breastfeeding success, with the goal of increasing accessibility to affordable practices that improve outcomes across all demographics. I'm not gonna have the play. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lansing Community College Board of Trustees extends its deepest gratitude to Samantha Babe for her years of dedicated service, leadership, and advocacy for equity, education, and community development. And be it further resolved that the board recognizes and celebrates Samantha Babe's enduring contributions to Lansing Community College and the community it serves, and wishes her continued success in all future endeavors.
I do talk longer than Trustee Hidalgo does. So I often say that the show Grey's Anatomy is the most consistent thing in my life because I have watched it living in 7 of the 8 states that I've lived in. I've watched it in high school, undergrad, master's degree, post-grad program, and all through my PhD. I watched it single, married, divorced, and married again. And it has just kind of been this constant thing in my life. And for a long time, it was basically the most consistent thing. I am really squarely in that generation that went hardcore into sort of the episodic life. And really, this 6 years on this board is the longest I've done anything, except maybe be a writer. And I really am so grateful to this community because in these 6 years, I got married, I wrote a PhD, or a dissertation, I wrote a book, I lost my mother-in-law, I lived through a pandemic, I went through infertility treatments, I got diagnosed with a lifelong illness, I traveled to multiple countries, I got to speak at 2 conferences and found 2 caucuses at a national organization. I got to live so much of my life being supported and embraced by this community. And I can honestly say I would not be who I am right now, and I would not be where I am right now if it was not for LCC. So I know that if we do a fraction of what LCC has done for me for our students, then we are fully living up to what we promised. So thank you to everyone. This has been the honor of my life, and I will miss all of you, but I look forward to watching as LCC continues to do all of the amazing things from hopefully not too far away, and all the amazing things that you'll do in the future, like free childcare for everybody and all of those other things. So yeah, thank you, everyone. Shimi Gwach.
Chair Matthews and Benita, I want to thank you for giving me a time for brief personal reflections about these 2 amazing trustees. And then Chair and I have some hardware to distribute. I'm going to be really brief. Those resolutions were wonderful. Before we get started, I do want to point out to all my community college colleagues, I want you to do a little math in your head for a minute. There are 1,100 or so community colleges in this country. Each one of them has between 5 and 19 trustees. And when you think about the person hours invested in our institutions, it's just incredible. So marking the retirement or the finishing of service of our 2 trustees is really, really special to me. And I'm going to start with Trustee Hidalgo. Lawrence, community college trustees have had a big influence on me for more than 30 years. But you literally changed my life. You called me and offered me a job at the community college where I started as a faculty intern teaching writing 121. Frankly, a life goal to come back to this college, and I'll remember that forever. You'll also remember, we talked about the pandemic, when he called me and I was standing in my kitchen in Toledo, Ohio. He also told me that I was selected on a 4-3 vote, and he helped me over the course of a year build a coalition of support where we've been able to do amazing things these last 5 years, and I appreciate that. The other thing I want to say about Trustee Hidalgo is that, like me, he comes from the classroom. And in all of our conversations, he's had an almost innate understanding of our students. Not only understanding the trades, but what we do in general education. And so our conversations when you're a chair, when you're a trustee, always came back to what was best for the faculty, the staff, but particularly the students at the college. So I want to recognize you personally for that. And thank you. And this is from the board. Also, a token for your office, a star trophy. Where should we do? Should we go out there for this? Yeah, okay, let's go get a picture of that. And briefly, Dr. Bave, that resolution really captured your trusteeship here. And she shared with me earlier that the 6 years of being a trustee is the longest you've done anything. You've done a lot in 6 years. I do want to highlight Dr. Bave's national profile in the ACCT. This last few years, we've seen a number of turnovers in trusteeship and a number of younger trustees enter these thousands of individuals who serve as trustees. And Dr. Vave created a place for them, a caucus for them to meet, because it was different to be a Gen Z or millennial trustee. And that's something I think that kind of energy will have a lasting impact on ACCT. So if G. Hang were here, I know he'd say something like that. The other thing I do want to say about Dr. Vave, all these trustees are very kind to me, but even though I have my dream job, you can imagine this is a job that is not without stress. Dr. Vave was always calling me for a personal well check. How are you doing really? And not when something happened, just out of the blue. She would call and say, just checking on you. And that's the last thing I wanted to say. In addition to being what I would call an advocate in the best possible word, and we talked about hygiene products on campus and childcare. All of Dr. Vave's trusteeship has always been about the people, our students as people, our faculty as people, and even the trustees, and even the president as a person. So for that, thank you so much. You get the big reveal, Chair Matthews.
First of all, thank you for being patient, because a lot of times we don't get to say too much of anything. And because of where we sit and what we're supposed to do, we are committed to that. And to these seats. Trustee, trust is the prefix of the word. And so everything that my colleagues have said, I echo for the two trustees who will be moving forward with some incredible things of what they're going to do. But I thank you for this moment that we humanize the trustees. So can you give a hand for the humanization of being a trustee? And so with that, I'm going to try to do this justice. We all heard that a picture paints 1,000 words. So sometimes when a person can't say something, there's a picture that says it all, regardless to whatever the picture may be. A picture says it all. The picture tells the journey. If you were to look really deep inside and look at the picture from a different lens and perspective, you can kind of gather the journey of either the artist or even the person or persons that's within the picture. And so over the years, there has been pictures that have been collected of your journey. Oh, both of you over here. Of your journey, things that you have done. And maybe the eye, you may not even seen what the picture captured, what the eye captured. But it captures some pretty incredible things of your journey here. Places that you may have been, seats set in. So if both of you would so kindly come up here. Lawrence, if you would come onto my left, Samantha onto my right. We're going to take a look at the pictures that paints 1,000 words of your journey and your commitment to LCC. So without further ado, both of you raise the covering and you see the picture that has painted 1,000 words of your trusteeship here. Thank you, Miss. That's beautiful. Oh, y'all stingy with the claps. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Different places and spaces and along the years, 12 years over here, 6 years over here, people don't even stay for a couple of days in, positions. And so thank you to Miss Benita, who worked tirelessly and feverishly to make sure that the picture of your journey here was absolutely perfect. And it is absolutely perfect. So give her a hand. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being my vice chair. Thank you for the mentorship. Thank you for the times when I called you, and they called me back and it was late and you did it, and then thank you for the conversations. Thank you for the support. And yeah, thank you for, asking me, hey, is everything okay? And that's awesome. Speaks of your heart, speaks of your commitment, speaks of how human you are. And this wasn't just a position that you took, but this is a position that you held in your heart. And you really were a trustee of Lansing Community College. And for that, we applaud you.
Something very meta about having photographing his own photo.
Oh, the whole board, let's do it. Whole board, no, whole board. Please. Whole board. Yes.
God, I need to hold that.
That's right.
That's gonna put you down.
Oh, I guess a very good.
Is that our timer?
No.
Get down to bed, okay.
Did everybody get their workout tonight?
Remember, take some of that stuff home, please. That chocolate and all of that good stuff. Yes. Thank you so much again, everyone, for your patience and for allowing us to do this. Those of you who are online, if we have anyone online, no, yes. No? Okay, all right. So we're going to move on to approval of minutes. We're agenda item number 5 for November 18, 2024, the regular Board of Trustees meeting. Do I have a motion of approval?
Madam Chair, I move we approve the minutes from the November 18th meeting.
Thank you, Trustee Vave. Thank you, Vice Chair Hildago. It has been moved by Trustee Vave and supported by Trustee Hildago, Vice Chair Hildago, that the approval of the regular meeting minutes of the Board of Trustees for November 18, 2024. Any discussions? Hearing none. Ms. Benita, would you call the roll?
Garcia,
Aye.
Angela Matthews.
Yes.
Samantha B,
Abstain.
Lawrence O'Donnell,
Yes.
Robert Proctor.
Aye.
Terry Frazier,
Aye.
LaShonda Thomas, motion carried.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda number 6. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Chair Matthews, with your permission and the board's permission, I'd like to request that a new item be placed on the agenda. You should have copies of this at your places, trustees and Lane, if you could put this on the table. I'm requesting that the board place a resolution to address 2024 cost of living increases for employees on the agenda. Thank you.
Dr. Robinson, where would you like that to be placed?
If I could, Chair Matthews, I'd like that to come first before the consent agenda.
Are there any additional additions or deletions to the agenda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm requesting that an item be added at the end of the agenda It pertains to my anticipated thought about running for an elected position with the Association of Community College Trustees. Haven't decided what that might be. Could be the Board of Directors, it could be the Regional Director for the Great Lakes region or the Central region, or the Diversity Committee Chair. I've served in that position before. I doubt if that would be what I do. The request has to be made to get the approval of my institution, Lansing Community College, to pay for the expenses I might incur in representing the college in one of those capacities. And that's the item I would seek to have placed on the agenda.
Okay. And so trustee Proctor, you said at the end, would that come after?
Last item on here would be linkage planning implementation. Suggest after that item.
Are there any additional deletion or additions to the agenda? Hearing none. Moving on, I'm sorry, trustee Thomas?
Madam Chair, I would like to remove consent agenda items F.
Okay, trustee Thomas, noted, we're not down to the consent agenda. However, once we get down to the consent agenda, then we will address that removal. All right, moving on to limited public comments regarding agenda items only. Agenda items only. Do we have anyone signed up, Ms. Benita?
Not for.
Okay, none, hearing none. We'll move down to the consent agenda. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm sorry. Yes. President's report. I'm sorry.
Chair Matthews, good evening, trustees. I'm so glad we spent that time recognizing Dr. Vave and Lawrence Hidalgo. Patrick, I'm going to try to achieve a land speed record with this president's report, so forgive me for talking fast. I have 4 things I'd like to talk about, and I'm going to do it quickly, and if you could advance my slides, I won't even, you've got this. I always like to highlight the written report. Kind of cool to be photographed with Sparty while we were doing Envision Green. I'd also like to show you that on page 21, there's a great spread about our Tech Forward Men of Color event. Those of you who work here at LCC will recognize our former colleague, Jonathan Rosewood, who's in the picture there. Also a great spread on the MSU Humphrey Fellows visit. And of course, the archive PDF and flipping book editions of this are on our president's webpage. If you could go through the 6 slides or 4 slides on help portrait. Trustees, we had a great help portrait event. This is the 4th year we've done it. I want to thank you. I especially, and those of you who've never heard me talk about help portrait, it's an international event. It's very simple. It happens on the first Saturday of December. Professional photographs set up a portrait studio and they make portraits for free. And I want to give special thanks to Ike Lee, who is our retiring full-time photography professor, who is there coordinating all the photographers. We set a record. We photographed 66 families this year, up from 41. You know, if you're looking for something to do the first Saturday of next December, it is my favorite volunteer event. Always hits me right here. Huge thanks to the entire volunteer team led by Lane Ingram and Trisha Rotoff. And I also want to call out Kevin Fowler, who was there covering the event, but had to provide emergency technical assistance to make sure everything worked well. So help portrait's great. I also, some of you have heard me talk about the important work of our job training center. Bo Garcia and Lee Gardner have brought excellent news of us delivering training in the Ingham County Jail. Our job training center is now doing certification in materials handling and working in warehouse. These are some of the best jobs for formerly incarcerated persons. And since July 1st, 220 formerly incarcerated individuals have started this coursework. Special thanks to Lee and Bo, and this is made possible through a grant from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Very brief because it's yet to come, trustees, but we've talked about our HESI results, the Workplace Employee Satisfaction Survey. The results are now back for this last data collection cycle. And there'll be information in the STAR, and I'll be sending it in my president's newsletter. But the Center for Data Science has those results. As before, we're going to have an open process where we share all those data. We have scheduled an all-employee town hall meeting for late January on the 27th. Just an overall sneak peek. Our total score was 383, which is in that range of a goal range for a healthy workplace. But some of our challenges on the low areas continue to be the same. Our highest scores were in work group, workplace, and information system. But our low scores, once again, were in pay, benefits, internal communication. So we're going to have a campus-wide dialogue about the HESI, and there'll be a link to the results of my next board newsletter. And I think it's going out in the STAR next week. Yes, thank you, Dr. Samuel. Okay, very quickly, trustees, you'll remember that at the beginning of each year, I start developing formal goals with the board. Still working on that. I want to be talking about the board, about that with the board in January. But I do want to let everyone know, because I will talk about this at PA days. I have settled on one of my 3 major goals will focus on elevating the importance of understanding, analyzing, and doing something about student basic needs. This was predicated by an excellent presentation by students about housing insecurity in our community. I do want to say something about this to all, particularly our student services professionals. We know that there are many LCC employees who directly work with students on food insecurity, on housing insecurity, on student mental health. So prioritizing this doesn't mean we're not doing anything about it. It's very similar to what we did this past year with enrollment management. We're going to elevate the importance of that, cross-functional, across the organization, looking at student basic needs. So more about that. And at the end, Chair Matthews and trustees, our new colleagues and a STAR is hired. We always like to give new employees the opportunity to come to the board. Is there anybody who's brand new to LCC who is on the list here? Would you please stand up and introduce yourself?
I graduated to be in but my goal, the undergrad, was to teach at the college. I really like walking, like getting involved and having fun and so I actually this senior to go to my building all building one in the area which means we have a lot of and I had that over because it's fun and the old time. But I'm really excited. I really like this. Great people. I'm really excited to come here and to continue.
Employees, Emily, when we meet, we'll have to talk about, I'm so jealous about you starting your career teaching freshman college. My favorite time of life. That's my report, Chair Matthews.
Emily, you don't have to stay.
Oh, yeah. And Emily, you do not have to stay for the entire meeting. You are welcome to stay for the whole meeting. But if you wanted to load up a to-go container with treats and skedaddle and grade papers, you could do that too.
Oh.
Yeah, please take whatever. Yes, thank you for being here. Are we read? Okay. So Chair Matthews, at your places is a resolution that many team members worked hard to put together. I think the way Ms. Duncan has formatted it, it will require a trustee to move it and second it. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you like that, Chair Matthews, would you like that to happen before I have something to say about it?
Yes.
Very good. So we'll need a mover and a second.
Madam Chair, I move a resolution addressing 2024 cost of living.
The move by trustee Vade, supported by Vice Chair Hidalgo, to approve the resolution for cost of living. Any discussion?
If I could speak to it very briefly, and certainly happy to answer any questions or allow trustees to talk about it. It's not common that we bring an agenda item at the last minute. So I do want to say a couple things about this. We know, and we've had dialogue even at this table, that the last 12 months or even 2 to 3, 3 to 5 years have seen great increases in the cost of living, not just generally in our community, but also for our faculty and staff. And so working with our chief financial officer, with Dr. Samuel, the human resources team, I asked them to put together an opportunity for the trustees to consider a one-time lump sum, non-precedent setting cost of living stipend for faculty and staff. This is in recognition of the dedication and hard work of LCC faculty and staff, both full-time and part-time. The resolution specifically spells out the timing for $900 full-time lump sum payment and a $525 lump sum payment for part-time employees. Copies of the resolution are at the table so members of the public can see it. And I do also want to thank Dr. Samuel, CFO Wilski, and the HR team for putting this together, and Chair Matthews, to you and the trustees for considering this outside of the normal agenda. Usually we work for weeks to decide what goes into the board agenda. So it's not common for me to put a resolution before you like this, but I appreciate you considering it, and thank you.
Ms. Second, would you take the roll?
Lawrence Hidalgo,
Yes.
Noel Garcia.
Yes.
Terry Frazier.
Yeah.
Angela Matthews. Robert Proctor.
Aye.
Samantha Babe.
Yes.
DeShonda Thomas. Motion carried.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. We're moving down to consent agenda item. It was mentioned earlier from trustee Thomas to remove item number F, lease agreement between Lansing Community College and the Louise J. Ide Family LLC. Are there any other items from the consent agenda that my colleagues would like removed? Hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items A, B, C, D,
Madam Chair,
and H and I?
Madam Chair, I move we approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, G, H, and I.
Support.
It's been moved by trustee Zave and supported by Vice Chair Hidalgo that we would approve the consent agenda action items with the exception of F. Any discussions? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan, would you call the roll?
Angela Matthews.
Yes.
Noel Garcia.
Aye.
DeShonda Thomas. Lawrence Hidalgo.
Yes.
Terry Frazier.
Aye.
Robert Proctor.
Aye.
Samantha Babe.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the lease agreement between Lansing Community College and the Louise J. Ide Family LLC?
Chair, I move we approve the lease agreement between Community College, Lansing Community College, and the Louise J. Ide Family LLC.
Support.
Thank you, trustee Dave. Vice Chair Hidalgo, it has been moved and supported by trustee Dave, moved by trustee Dave and supported by trustee Hidalgo, Vice Chair Hidalgo. Any discussion? Trustee Thomas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question is kind of broad, but because East has been around so long, I wondered why are we still leasing at this time?
Chair Matthews, if I could, and then I'd love it if Dr. Samuel or perhaps Chris McCursey chime in. The short answer, trustee Thomas, is a bit of an uncertain future. We've seen enrollment go up and down at East. Enrollment is up last semester and up forecasted for next semester. We have, particularly as we went through the campus master planning process, thought aloud about whether we would purchase some of our remote centers. But at this point, I don't think there's enough certainty going forward from an enrollment standpoint. But my colleagues are much closer to that work and could give a more granular answer. But the top line is, if we were to, we're already in the position where we're decommissioning or decanting properties. We would hate to have to do that quickly if we bought something in East Lansing. But Dr. Samuel, Dr. McCursey, anything to add?
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. I think you said it all. That's exactly where we are with that situation. We're happy to still have a presence in East Lansing and continue to be able to serve that community. But as of right now, we're taking a strategic approach and we're going forward with our campus master plan, which doesn't actually cause for us to acquire any buildings at this time. So.
Okay. The only thing, while Dr. Samuel was talking and I was exchanging glances with Dr. McCursey, one other advantage occurs to me, Trustee Thomas. And that is with a leased property, we don't have the larger costs of the mechanicals and some of the more burdensome some costs of actually owning. In fact, my mind was racing back to when I was president of Owens Community College in Toledo. One of our satellite locations was a lease arrangement on purpose, where there was a long term commitment to that community, but it just made more sense from a business standpoint to lease rather than own.
So with the East Campus, what has the enrollment, what are the enrollment numbers from last year as well as to this year? And I would imagine that the students have access to all of the different programs that LCC has. I would imagine that is possibly true. So just curious about those numbers at the East Campus, and we do apologize because we are between West Campus and this campus, and rarely get out to the East Campus. So hopefully we will be, correcting that in the future to make our presence known out there, to let them know that they're not on the island by themselves. So, but going back to my original question, enrollment at East Campus, the utilization of that campus.
So I know Lee Gardner's here. I'm not sure he has the information, but Bo Garcia is online and should be able to pull up the information for us.
Okay.
While Bo's coming to the mic, whatever specific information about enrollment we don't have this evening, we can certainly get to the board.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Matthews, members of the board, President Robinson. Yes, the numbers are good. I'm looking at the December 16th, 2024 daily enrollment counts with prior year comparison as of today. LCC East for fall semester had a 12.7% increase over fall of 23. In fall of 23, there were 518 students. In fall of 24, there were 584 for a 12.7% increase. And again, that is, I'm citing December 16th, 2024, today's daily enrollment counts with prior year comparison. And additionally, there was a 5.8% increase in campus billable hours for LCC East fall 2023 to fall 2024 comparison. There was a 6.8% increase in campus seat counts from fall 2023 to fall 2024. And there was a 6.5% increase in campus credit hours at LCC East from fall 2023 to fall 2024.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Bo, for that information. Before you go, Trustee Babe has a question.
Did you say 6.8% in campus seat?
Yes, 6.8% in campus seat counts. And 12.7% in campus head counts. And as I mentioned, 5.8% in campus billable hours.
That's my question again. You said 6.8% increase in campus seats, which means students physically sitting on campus, I'm assuming.
That's correct. That's correct, yes.
Any additional questions? No? Duncan, would you call the roll?
Aye.
Rashonda Thomas. Samantha Bay.
Yes.
Angela Matthews. Noel Garcia.
Yes.
Lawrence Odago.
Yes.
Robert Proctor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Moving on to monthly monitoring report, Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Chair Matthews. Under A, financial statements, as they are every month, the monthly financials are in the packet. If trustees have questions, CFO Wilski is here.
Thank you, Don. It's good to see you in person.
Same is true for B. The first is the statements publication, and then next is the monthly financial statements. Don is still here.
Yeah, the first item is a legal requirement of the college, part of transparency of the college's financial information. And as far as the monthly internal financial statement, things are on course the way that we had hoped they were. And slightly better in terms of enrollment for the fall semester. Spring, has been previously mentioned, is looking well. And we were fortunate enough to get some of our investments tied up in June before the Federal Reserve System started dropping the rate. So we kind of got lucky on timing to a certain degree. So our investment income from CDs are higher than we had anticipated, but we thought the rates were going to actually fall soon.
Trustee Babe.
So because we just approved this, I'm assuming it's not reflected in the monitoring reports. I'm assuming it will be next month? No, will the lump sum payout be somewhere in the spreadsheet?
Well, they'll actually be, in terms of when it comes to the board, it'll be part of the February report that reflects the January 31st financial information.
Okay, and what, is it coming out of the general fund?
Yes.
Thank you.
While that subject is back on the table, Chair Matthews, I've been talking to Don. There was a not to exceed amount of 985, just
Correct.
shy of $1 million. Don did let me know, and I told him it was okay, that we might have some play up or down by a couple thousand as we make sure that we execute that with fidelity. Thanks.
Additional questions for Don or Dr. Robinson and his team?
Well, then, Chair Matthews, the last is the monthly public safety report. I told the chief that while I might say his name, he wouldn't necessarily need to come to the podium. It is a shorter report. But trustees, I always like to say the same thing about this report. I continue to think that our police department is a national model of transparency by publishing all of its citizen interactions and by issuing citizen contact receipts. Those are on page 73 and 74 of your packet. The chief is here, but I told him he could stay seated unless there was a specific question for him.
Trustee Babe.
Looks like
I
you
would
got a
like the chief
question.
to come up here.
Thanks, chief.
So I made you walk all the way up here, but I don't have a question. I just want to say for the last time that I am just really proud of the fact that LCC does this. And I want to thank you for the transparency and the compassion that you have brought to this position. Actually got in an argument with my grandfather recently where we were talking about where change happens, like how high up it happens. And I said, you know, we have a chief of police at LCC and he made real change happen. It doesn't have to come, you know, from the state. It doesn't have to come higher than that. And so, thank you.
I have a question. Just real quick. And the only question I have is, because the weather is getting colder, I heard it on couple of the news channels, IOLX and Ellen something, LNS. So does your department have a list of the updated, facilities? Okay, good. Okay. warming stations, I think that's what they call them, right? Or something, okay,
Shelters,
Okay.
we're good to go with that.
okay. Because I know there's been a lot of changes in the city in those areas. Okay.
Yeah, I think actually my sergeant gets an updated list every year, just to make sure we're current, so good to go, prepared.
All right, thank you, sir.
Welcome in.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Monthly monitoring reports, Chairman.
Thank you so much. Moving down to agenda item number 10, policy development. Trustee Proctor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have quite a few pages in your packet. Essentially, there's nothing we can do about this other than to approve them because they're requirements coming out of federal law primarily. We have policies that mimic what we're required to do by federal law. So these are the updates to some changes that were made in federal law effective August 1 of 2024. We're a little bit behind in getting there. So to the extent that you have questions, I'll attempt to answer them. The first is a reference to the federal law, but we're not adopting that as a policy statement. It's recognition that that's something we have to comply with anyway. The others have to do with college policies that in effect mimic what federal law requires us to do. And to the extent that there have been changes that are set forth in the Code of Federal Regulations, we have adopted those for implementation in our policy so we stay compliant with federal as well as state law and the Rehabilitation Act. That's my brief summary. I think that reflects all that we're doing here. And we're required to do it. Now, there's one little wrinkle with regard to one of the policies in place with regard to sexual harassment, et cetera. There are some standards in place for those incidents that occurred prior to the changes. Some of those are still tracking through the process. So that's the applicable law, the law that was in place prior to August 1 of 2024. Subsequent to that date, there are some new standards that we have implemented or will be implementing with regard to these recommendations for policy modifications. So did I cover it all, team?
Trustee Vitt.
Just a clarification, on page 96, we've changed LCC Police and Public Safety to LCC Police Department. Is that because of a federal regulation? Have we changed how we're referring to it on campus? Or is it just to make the language cleaner?
I don't believe that was a federal requirement.
Okay.
That's a recognition that we no longer refer to the LCC's law enforcement unit as a public safety department,
Okay.
but police department.
Thank you.
Okay, there were a lot of additions to the sexual prohibited sex or gender-based discrimination, harassment, and so on and so forth. 88, it's on page 88, and then on and so forth, through the document. So quite a bit of addition with regards to being compliant. So this is first read, Trustee Proctor, or are we making a motion to adopt? How is this going?
After I answer those questions, what I intend to do is ask for a waiver of first read to make these effective as of tonight so that we are no longer out of compliance. If there are no other questions, I would make that motion that we give immediate effect to these changes.
Trustee Wright?
Clarification, are we voting first to waive the first read and then voting again on the policy, or we're just voting on the policy?
Take it in order, waive the requirement.
Okay, a motion was made to waive the requirement. Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved by trustee Proctor, second by trustee Vane, that we would waive
First reading.
first read with regards to these policies. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Duckett, call the roll.
Lawrence Odago, Samantha Bay.
Yes.
Angela Mathis, Noel Garcia,
Yes.
Terry Fraser,
Yes.
LaShonda Thomas, Robert Proctor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Madam Chair, I would move that we adopt immediately these proposed changes to our policies.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Proctor, but second by trustee Vave, that we would move immediately to adopt the policy set forth. Policy number 1, 4.020, 2, 4.110, non-discrimination, 3, 4.120, prohibited sex or gender-based discrimination, harassment, and sexual misconduct. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Duncan, take the roll.
Samantha Bay,
Yes.
Noel Garcia.
Yes.
Lawrence Odago,
Yes.
Terry Fraser, LaShonda Thomas, Robert Proctor,
Aye.
Angela Mathis.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to, thank you, moving on to number 11, linkage planning implementation.
Chair Matthews?
Yes.
Is this where trustee Proctor's action, where would your action?
No, his action is
that's
coming
later.
afterwards. Well, Chair's report, lots been going on at Lansing Community College. And I thank everyone, the team and everyone for all that you're doing, especially in this season. We've been trying to, as a board, to attend as many as we possibly can to let you know that we support you and that we see you. I want to bring not awareness, but just say thank you to the firefighters. They had their graduation last Thursday, and they had 33. It was the largest class that they've had. It was in Dart Auditorium. It was well attended. The place was packed. And so I wanted to give big thanks to that department, the faculty and everyone who had a hand in coordinating that, coordinating and all of those good things. And hard work went into that, and the recruits, it was just a really good time with families. So is this 70, 79, 74, 70? Was it 79? Okay. 79, okay, 70, I knew it was 79 because trustee Thomas had a relative who graduated from that particular class. And so I really would like for us to give that whole entire department a really good hand of applause for that. And then the 114th, thank you, Patrick. Police Academy, well attended. I'm going to pull back on some of my comments because I know my colleague is going to want to, add and say something, but it was well attended. I got there a little bit late, but I was able to witness that entire, it was amazing. All of the officers there of high ranking officials from all over Michigan. Some came really far from Texas, to be there for their relative. It was well attended, coordinated. So let's give a hand to that entire department and those, who coordinate those efforts. So I am going to drop anchor right there. And if my colleague wants to say something.
Just a couple of things to note on the 114th Police Academy graduation. It doesn't happen very often, but all 37 recruits that started the Police Academy were able to complete the academy. That's a heck of an accomplishment there. Yep. 17 grueling weeks of more than full-time effort certainly put into that endeavor. And another nice thing to mention is they were all in service. So no one's looking for a job. All of those 37 recruits have been sponsored by an agency another remarkable feat. And just the 114th graduating class, I was the 45th. So do the math. More than one. Yeah. Yeah, right. Let's make that clear. More than one a year.
I'm sure there's going to be more comments on that when we get to board comments, but I just kind of wanted to, just kind of tap that a little bit. And just to kind of move our agenda along, because we do have a closed session. We're going to go to committee report, foundation board report from Trustee Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Right now, I just want to celebrate the 18 donors who came together on Giving Tuesday and donated $2,250. So there's another opportunity coming up very soon, so let's prepare. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Trustee Proctor.
Well, Madam Chair, as I thought I was about to leave, it's like the scene from The Godfather, I think. They keep pulling me back in. So I got this communication about these openings at the Association of Community College Trustees. And for whatever reason, I thought maybe I'll make the application, submit it, go through the nominating committee. I believe I might have a reasonable chance of getting at least invited to appear before the nominating committee. What happens after that, who knows? But journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. I'm going to take the first step with the support of my colleagues, if you so feel that I should. Thank you.
So tonight, you're making the request. Do we need to make some type of motion to support that, or the letter that's going to go forward that says that we are in support of you with regards to this request?
Well, I think two aspects of this. The first is, as each one of us who served outside the college premises itself needs the support of our colleagues in the college to bear the expenses of our engaging in that outside activity. So we have at least 3 members on this board who have served in such a capacity. And the college board has approved the expenses associated with that service. The next is a letter from my colleagues, at least endorsing my candidacy should I go forth on it. And depending on the position, I might need a letter from someone else outside of the college to do that. So.
So we just need a motion for approving that I think he could just do it together, approving his candidacy and to support him financially.
I would make that motion.
Supporting? Support. It's been moved by Chair Hidalgo, supported by Chair Matthews, that we would approve the request for Trustee Proctor for a position with the ACCT organization.
And just clarity for the newer trustees, that support is a person that is on the board. They have to come in early. So that means that they would have maybe 2-night, extra hotel. So that's usually what the board is.
Good, Chair Matthew. That's an important point that Benita Duncan makes. Because this is an active board, a lot of the trustees are already traveling to these, so it's a less of a financial impact. The other thing I would just point out is a few years ago, you changed your end statements for LCC to specifically try to be a leader college nationally. So I think this also helps position, the board as a national leader, not just in the state.
If I may, Madam Chair, I already serve as a member of the Trustee Advisory Committee. So assuming that this was approved and I get elected, it adds no additional expense.
Further discussion, questions? There's nothing called the roll.
Okay, can you repeat who seconded? I'm sorry.
It was a motion by Vice Chair Hidalgo, and it was seconded by myself that we would support the request for Dr. Proctor with, an ACCT, position
Thank you.
forthcoming.
Angela Matthews.
Yes.
Noel Garcia. Samantha Bay.
Yes.
Terry Fraser.
Yeah.
LaShonda Thomas.
Aye.
Lawrence Odago.
Yes.
Robert Proctor.
Abstain.
Motion carried.
Awesome. Moving on to unfinished business, seeing there's none. Moving on to new business for January 2025. That's going to be a heavy agenda coming up. As you can see, there will be several oaths of office ceremonies that will take place. Also, the chair's report, and those particular items under that particular, B clause on our agenda. So please just be mindful, that January is going to be a little heavy for us. There was something else. Oh, Board of Trustees planning calendar for the rest of the year. Just, look at that for December, January, February, for January and February 2025. My colleagues, if you would just note that. Moving on to public comment, Ms. Benita, do we have any person signed up for public comment? At this particular time, you will be able to come to the podium, address the board, give your name, and then ma'am and or sir, you will have 3 minutes to make your comment. Do we have anyone?
I believe there's 4 people on the list. Okay.
Okay.
And, I'm sorry, Patrick.
You say one of the 4 persons is online? Okay. So why don't we do this? Why don't we start with the online person and then we will, move forward with the persons who are in the audience.
Hey, everyone. Sorry about, I wish I could be there with you all, but I'm homesick, so I'm sorry I'm not there tonight. I had a couple of things, but before I get started, I wanted to say a very, very, very special thank you to my 2, sorry everyone else, favorite board members. Well, Sam, Vave, and Lawrence Peldago. I appreciate you for all the work that you have done over your tenure at LCC. I can think of all the times, Lawrence, that we've been able to meet and talk about things. Same with you, Sam. When I think about all the stuff that you both have done for the college, for one reason that always comes to my mind is getting those crazy feminine products in all of the bathrooms for free for all of our students and our staff. That was absolutely huge, momentous, and a wonderful thing. So thank you so much for that one. We appreciate it. So this evening, I want to just talk to the board a couple of things. Number one, I know that we all had heard about the healthcare and talked about the healthcare, but with MEA and the help of a lot of people around the state, I know that the hard cap was sent through legislation and lifted to 7%. That is going to make a difference in our premiums. I'm not sure if any of the college's lobbyists or folks were able to participate in that. If you were, thank you so much, because that's going to make a difference for all of the people here at the college. The other thing I want to do is I want to thank the board for the cost of living adjustment. We really appreciate that so much. It's going to make a difference in the lives of a lot of our people, especially at this time. Usually the winter is the worst for our employees in terms of families and obligations and cold weather and higher bills. So it's coming at an opportune time. So thank you so much for that. Just on behalf of me and my family, I want to wish all of you a very happy holiday. Stay safe, stay warm, and we'll see you all next year. So thank you guys very much. Have a great evening.
Are you able to grab the list? Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, Karen Sturdivant, and then Pam Davis, and then Cheryl. Ada. Okay. Let me change. Sorry. Is it on this time? I have to tell my friend to talk. Okay.
Hello? Oh, that's great.
I am Karen Sturdivant, President Steve Robinson, and this esteemed body of LCC board members. On behalf of many of the alumni who work out daily, beginning at 6 a.m. at the LCC Fitness West facility, we would like to express our deepest gratitude for your decision to support the continued free access to the fitness center for retirees and alumni. This initiative not only reflects the institution's commitment to lifelong wellness, but it also strengthens the bonds between our alumni, retirees, and the community at large. Your dedication to continue fostering a vibrant, healthy, and interconnected community is truly commendable. By keeping these fitness doors open to this constituency, you're providing invaluable opportunities for physical health, social interaction, and quite possibly increasing our engagement with the institution. It is policies like this that enhance LCC's reputation as an inclusive and forward-thinking institution, clearly in a class by itself. Thank you for your leadership and your vision. We are grateful beyond expression for your commitment to the well-being of LCC's extended family and for continuing to prioritize the needs of retirees and alumni. We have signed a card and our gratefulness, and it was all pulled together by Tanya McLean. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Duncan?
Cute. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pam Davis. And I just want to say thank you to both of you as well. And that I think about you every time I use a bathroom here on campus. So, and the work that you've done for the women on our campus. So thank you. My name is Pam Davis. I am a counselor here at the college. I've been here, it'll be 30 years in March. I'm here so long because I love the work that I do as a counselor. I love working in a college environment, and I enjoy working at Lansing Community College. I truly do. There's been ups and downs while we've been here. And I'm seeing a decline in the morale lately. And maybe I hear it because I connect with my colleagues. At recent meetings, I've heard statements such as culture of care was just a COVID thing, doesn't really exist anymore. I've also heard it said in meetings, well, if you don't like it, you can leave. And I can't imagine that if we were listening to a student talk about their struggles, that that's what we would say to them, because it wouldn't. We would work with them, we would listen to them, we would encourage them. The strategic plan, one of the goals is establishing LCC as a premier workspace through empowerment, engagement, and including, excuse me. I'm not hearing these messages at our meetings that tie in with those things. With the rise in healthcare costs, and I understand that might be working on, which is great, and working conditions have changed that are putting more pressure on healthcare or childcare costs as well. Some of my colleagues are really struggling. They're having a hard time. And other colleagues are feeling that there's a lack of collaboration and professional respect. Employees work hard to help students feel supported, encouraged, and valued. I worry about some of my colleagues. They're really struggling. They just want to feel heard. They want to feel valued and appreciated. And they want the opportunity to have the work-life balance. And they want to be respected as human beings and professionals. I do want to also thank you for the consideration of the cost of living adjustment. I think that will be very helpful and will feel valued. So thank you.
My name is Cheryl Garida. I'm the AFT representative to the Healthcare Task Force, and I'm speaking on behalf of AFT members. I'd also like to thank Dr. Robertson and the board for the cost of living stipend, which will definitely help all of us deal with that healthcare increase that we all got hit with. looking forward, our healthcare task force agreement ends next December, which means that during the summer, we'll be renegotiating a contract. And we're hoping to work with the college to look at other carriers in addition to other plans to hopefully find better options for everyone for next year. But thank you again and have a good holiday.
That's all that I have at this time.
Justin, okay, thank you. Next item is board comment. Trustee Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and happy holidays. I hope you guys all enjoy your holidays and it's filled with love, joy, and peace. I'm happy to see that there is a town hall meeting, January 27th. I would say that to make sure that you attend, to make sure that your voices are heard. I'm grateful to see that. Also, when surveys go out, and I had this on my notes already, but when surveys go out, please, like the, what is it called? HESI, like the HESI, even though we may not be able to speak to you individually, that gives us a small view of what you feel as an employee in this community. So thank you guys, and again, happy holidays.
Sure, why not? So I could not attend Help Portrait this year, although I do think it's one of the coolest things that LCC does. I really see LCC as a leader, not just in education, but in offering community services. And I think we can all be really proud of that. But I could not attend because I was attending the round dance that the Anishinaabe Friendship Center put on. For those who don't know, a round dance is kind of like a powwow, but it's different. They're held in the winter, they're held indoors, usually around the solstice. But this was the first one to occur in Lansing in living history, although these are the ancestral grounds where they used to take place all the time. So it was very exciting. We had people drive as far as Iowa to come. And it is just a very cool event. So I'm letting you all know now to put it on your calendars that there will be next year, first weekend in December, right after Help Portrait. You can come on over. It is a free event. It is open to everyone. There's free food and fun vendors, and it's just a cool experience. Also, the Nottingham Nature Nook Wildlife Rescue will in the spring will be starting a Stewards of Nature program, youth program for youth who are living with anxiety and depression. And we will need to be recruiting participants. So if you know of someone between the ages of 14 and 17 with anxiety and depression who you think would benefit from animal contact and community gardening, please get in touch. And for the last time, thanks everybody.
I'm sorry, you guys. One, my daughter is attending LCC and she was talking to one of the counselors or something, and she said, all I need now is that they helped her through the process just effortlessly. And she said, all I need now is a backpack. And so one of the counselors provided her a backpack. She was like, Mom, look, I got a backpack. I'm like, I was going to get her one, but I'm like, even better. So thank you, whoever that was. Also, my brother graduated the fire academy. My baby brother of 12, it's 12 of us, and he's the youngest. So to see him graduate, it was an awesome feeling. No one knew who he was, et cetera, et cetera. And he said he was treated just great, and it was a great experience. He'll be going through EMT and EMS, so I am excited. That made my heart warm. And for my colleagues, I'm gonna miss you guys. I'm trying not to be a crybaby. They say I'm a crybaby. Anywho, Dave, I was nice. I didn't even tell the Bernie Sanders story. It will go down in history, okay? Because okay, can I tell it? You gotta tell it. We were at the Capitol and she wanted to see Bernie Sanders. And she was so excited about seeing Bernie Sanders. And she was like, I know as soon as I go to this meeting, he's going to show up. And we looked at a distance. As soon as the doors closed and she left, he came. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So we took a picture with him and it was just a hoot for me. She cried, but it will go down in history. And I hope one day you get to meet him. And Hidalgo, I'm going to miss you because who am I going to say girl with when it comes to Tony Glasgow? So thank you guys for your work. Again, for welcoming me, for making this job easy, for advocating with us. And I love you both and I'll miss you both. That's it.
I don't know, I'm pausing because I don't believe you.
Right, well, thank you. Recently, we had a conference in Seattle, and a couple of things there I wanted to bring to my colleagues, and hopefully you can consider these for working with the president over the next year. A few years ago, we started an OER project, and we funded it. I think it was $500,000 at that time or so. I suspect probably could use some more money at this time, and the urgency that needs to be done because books are going away, and the ones that aren't are so expensive. And to really help out our students financially, if we can get OER resources for them. And in fact, I heard from a number of colleges that are very robust with theirs. Heck, go steal their stuff and repackage it for our students instead of a lot of extra work reinventing the wheel. And I'd like to see that we put an emphasis on the sabbaticals that are OER sabbaticals and see that we can get that project finished, the one we started. Another thing was the AI, and we can argue whether it's coming or not. It's coming, and it's coming fast. We need to make sure we prepare our students for what's coming with it, so they know how to use it for business, but also morally and ethically how it should be used. So, please consider that on your agendas. As I leave, I want to first thank the staff, faculty and staff here at the college. You're great. I was talking to a grandmother and her daughter today at work who's coming here to LCC, and she was talking about all the help she's gotten from all the different people here at the college just to get her granddaughter enrolled. I've been a director for 35 years, which means I sit in a place where people drop their problems on me. And I have a poster or a sign in my office. I've had it for many years that says, if you want to take care of your customers, you take care of your employees first. And I've always tried to operate that way, and I've always tried to do that here. And I can tell you, I know we've had some rough times, tough times, but the board, this board and the iterations before have always looked out and thought about the employees. How does it affect? How can we help? So we do care. We do care about our employees, and we try to look out for them. To my fellow trustees, thank you for serving. And it's been a blast working with you and taking trips and learn about each other. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Dr. Robinson, thanks for accepting the offer to do this job. You're following along with our philosophy of LCC's a college like no other and taking it forward and making us even better. So I appreciate all that good work. It's thoroughly been an honor and privilege to have served the last 12 years, serve you, the community, the employees, especially the students. I will always cherish this time at LCC. Thank you.
My. So, with that, there's something that needs to be conveyed. And it is my hope that you will listen with open minds and open hearts, like we have. And so this board really has reviewed and appreciates all the public comments and emails related to the healthcare premiums. And at our request, the president and the college administration has also reviewed your feedback and continue to keep the board informed on developments with healthcare costs and the legal requirements of Public Act 152. This is truly a very complex issue. And the board understands it creates a large impact on all employees of the college who receive their healthcare benefits from LCC. While the college is currently exploring creative solutions to lower premium costs for the future years, there's no plan for the board to revisit Public Act 152 and the hard cap for 2026 through board action. This is bigger than LCC. And our rates are not set by LCC, but are determined externally by the Western Michigan Health Insurance Pool, WHIP. Healthcare costs are rising nationally and across the state, and certainly at every community college in Michigan. And we also have the added complication that Public Act 152 limits LCC contributions to employee healthcare costs. Since the inception of this law, LCC has used what the state calls the hard cap, and the state set limit on the hard cap for 2025 increased by 0.2%. This means LCC contributions to employee healthcare costs can only go up by 0.2% by law. While rates are rising much higher, we are hopeful that legislature will get involved, but we don't know what the future holds. Because of this hard cap is placed in 2025, this changes the current rates. The changes to the current rates are not possible. Open enrollment has concluded and 2025 rates are set. The college has reached out to our insurance provider to uncover alternative options for the future. This has been explored at length with the Healthcare Task Force and explained in great detail in the STAR and a special FAQ prepared by Human Resources that recently was disseminated to the entire campus community. Public Act 152 outlines this hard cap as the default for all public employers. Special action by the board would require us to deviate from this default, which has been in place at LCC since the law was passed. I feel you. And when I say I feel you, I feel you. I feel your hearts. I feel your attitudes, your minds, what you're saying, what I'm saying. Don't want to hear it. You don't want to buy it. You are set in your minds that this board can change some things. I have been very, what I want to say, aggressive with making sure that have we done everything that we can do? What can we do as a board because we care? It's not like we don't. It's not like we don't. We do. So that's why we're saying keep looking, keep searching, find whatever it is that you can find to make sure that our campus community is taken care of and that something can be done. My suggestion is right up the street, call your representative. Call them. You voted them in office. Call them and tell them and send them communications like you sent to us. We don't like it. This is what's happening. Y'all in proper English, sorry, do something about this because we are limited. However, in that capacity, we still are looking and searching and saying, don't give up. Keep your eye to the ground. And if any small entry of anywhere, we want to know about it. And if we can act on it, bring it to us in a proper fashion so that we can take a look at it. So that's not a message that I wanted to end the year on. So I'm going to try to switch this a little bit and go back to saying thank you, and thank you. It's a little hard with the changes that's happening on the board, things that are going on. But honestly and truly, your perseverance and your commitment to this college has made a difference. And you come here with questions and you're expecting some things. And even when you can't get what you want, you still show up for work every day. You still come to these meetings and you still voice your opinions. And that means a lot to us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Some people are going through some hard times right now. Some empty seats are at the table. So we have those people in our thoughts and in our hearts as well. I'm experiencing that my own self. So we get it. We get it. We love you. We thank you. Now that, we're going to go into closed session.
Madam Chair, I move that the board enter into a closed session according to Section 8A of the Michigan Open Meetings Act to discuss the president's yearly performance review at his request or to be undertaken in a closed session. Support.
It has been moved by Vice Chair Hidalgo and seconded by Trustee Thomas that we move into closed sessions for the reason as mentioned. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mrs. Duncan, could you call
Sorry,
the?
point of order. It's hard for me to hear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, who was the seconded by? I'm sorry.
Thomas, Trustee Thomas.
Terry Frazier,
Aye.
Noel Garcia,
Aye.
Lawrence Odago.
Yes.
Samantha.
Yes.
Robert Proctor.
Aye.
LaShonda Thomas. Samantha B.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Colleagues, can we please move up there so that so that we can handle this business, please? Thank you.
full trained therapy dog to increase.
That's how to see. I told Scott,
No.
he just made minor changes.
I think LKP would get much.
And we did
cheaper
a
and more.
comparison, we just did a comparison last year.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Lights are up, we have, the rest, going and covered like we need them.
What?
The Lions.
So
are
there's a
trouble.
couple of Vikings back here, everybody.
They're gonna win.
So
Terry,
there's a couple of things we have to be.
oh, the roll, Terry Frazier, Noel Garcia,
Here.
Lawrence Odago, Angela Matthews,
Here.
Robert Proctor, Rashonda Thomas, Samantha Bay.
Here.
To my colleagues, while Vice Chair Hidalgo was coming, it was my unintentional mistake. I needed to tag on a request with regard to the agency leadership because I too received that email notification. And so I was thinking about how to do that. So the proper way is for me to ask my colleagues to tag me on to that motion to support the request for leadership, agency leadership level.
Madam Chair, I move we add you to the previously approved motion for trustee Proctor to engage in more of a leadership role at ACCT.
Support.
And it has been go by trustee, trustee Garcia, my request onto trustee Proctor for ACC, further ACCT leadership. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan, would you call the roll?
Terry Frazier, Noel Garcia,
Aye.
Lawrence Odago,
Yes.
Angela Matthews, Robert Proctor, LaShonda Thomas, Samantha Bay.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Madam Chair, I move that the board increase the president's annual salary to $291,200 and extend his employment term to June 30th, 2029, effective January 1, 2025.
Second.
By Vice Chair Odago and second by trustee Bay, that the Board of Trustees will approve the president's contract, extending it as well as the 4% increase. Requested, any discussions? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan, call the roll.
Terry Frazier, Noel Garcia,
Aye.
Lawrence Odago,
Yes.
Angela Matthews, Robert Proctor, LaShonda Thomas, Samantha Bay.
Yes.
Motion carried.
There a motion to adjourn? It's moved by trustee Proctor and second by trustee Frazier that we adjourn this regular Board of Trustee meeting for the day December the 16th, 2024. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
He said no. He said no. Hey, I've always wanted